The IIHF World Championship has come and gone, and 4 Predators that competed all benefited immensely.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everyone? I'm Jack Williams. No one benefited more from the IIHF tournament than the Nashville Predators, who sent Roman Josi, Justus Annunen, Ryan O'Reilly, and Ryan Ufko to compete. 2 came back with medals, and the 2 others came back with some vital, important experience. We'll talk about one by one by 2, in that case, putting the 2 Ryans at the end of it here, just how vital important this tournament was for the Predators. And we hear a lot about the IIHF tournament and that it's a lesser of a tournament, which is very insulting to say the least, in my opinion, just cause it's not a big deal in North America, that being in Canada and the United States. And it's because it's competing with the Stanley Cup final and the Stanley Cup playoffs here, that being the best players who didn't make the playoffs or who got knocked out in the first round go to this tournament here, where you look at the rest of the Europe and the Swedish league and the Finnish league and Czechia, in Italy and France, prior to 2022 in Russia, all the best leagues in Europe are done at this point, and they send their best players in their countries to compete in this tournament. And Finland ended up winning this year. Justus Annunen ended up getting a gold medal here. And we see the celebrations happening in Finland. They are massive right now. And just, it's comparable to a team winning the Stanley Cup out there. It's a big deal out in Europe. And the thing I've been seeing thrown around, especially from a very popular hockey account that is truly obnoxious to the point, and just calling this a lesser tournament and not a real tournament, is that this tournament doesn't matter. But the Predators really benefited from this. And it started out with Justus Annunen, who, in my opinion, had the biggest showing in this tournament, had the most to gain, and took all of it, just took advantage of the moment completely, up and down. A .933 save percentage and a 1.47 goals against average. And he also played the most minutes of any goalie in the tournament at 489 minutes and 38 seconds. He had an 8-0 perfect record, a 22 save shutout, and a 1-0 gold medal game victory over Switzerland. That being happening in overtime as well. That a Sabres, Rochester's American player, ended up scoring that game-winning overtime goal there. And I mean, also, this wasn't a position that was just given to Justus Annunen. He had to battle with Boston's Joonas Korpisalo for that starting spot, who had played in this tournament back in 2017, who was one of the backups for Team Finland in the Olympics as well. So looking into it a little bit more, coming into this tournament, you would expect Korpisalo to be the favorite guy to go to, the one that Finland might have been preferring a little bit more, one that Finnish players might have expected that Finland was going to go to instead of Justus Annunen. But I mean, it just talks about the momentum that Annunen ramped up at the end of the year and just carried it into this tournament. I mean, who knows if this Predators team had made the playoffs, just how good and just how important Annunen would have been and how much they'd want to work with him and get him going here. I mean, he was dominant. They just went with him as the starter. He's not even the starter on his own team, but I can think that could very much change coming into next season here. And just like we've seen in the beginning of the year, he had that rough start and just being thrown into a lot of rough games. I think Andrew Brunette said a lot of just with Annunen, the whole situation was we're getting him in where he can. Right now, we're relying a lot on what Little Juice can do, and that being Juuse Saros. And they were relying a lot on him, and they just weren't ready to give Annunen the time that he deserved, as the whole team was just bad in general. And a lot of the effort and a lot of the games centered around Saros. Annunen started getting his time a little bit more. It still wasn't looking great. It grew a little bit more. The losses were still around Annunen, but you could tell that he was not really the big issue in this game. It was everything in front of him, as he was making a lot of saves in these losses here. Finally, the wins started coming a little bit more. Eventually, till we get till the end of the season, where he picked up a 40-plus save shutout, and which ended up being the Predators' only shutout win of the year towards the latter end of the season. And when it came into crunch time, the Predators went with him over Juuse Saros. So, I mean, this tournament here, I think he took away more than anyone else could. It just, once again, showed just how calm and steady he is. He represented his country this year. It doesn't matter if this tournament is considered lesser or not. It's an international tournament. These are pro players all across the world that are playing in this tournament. he shut the door. He was one of the best goaltenders in this tournament and stood out and just kind of verified a lot of what Preds fans had known so far. And his training is going to be critical over the next 2 months or so, specifically in July and August when there's not too much going on. And then when we get into training camp, it's going to be very exciting to see what kind of Justus Annunen we're going to get and what he's going to look like here. How much of a competitor is he going to be in this battle for the starting spot? Obviously, we've seen it likely, and we've talked about it breaking down a little bit more, that it's going to be kind of a 1A, 1B situation here. I think in our last episode of Mailbag Mondays, we talked a little bit about the handing of the reins over a little bit more, and that I kind of think that that's not ready yet. I don't think Juuse Saros is ready to just give up his spot just yet. I think this is a guy, again, signed a long contract, so he kind of has to stay up to that, live up to that as well. So he's not ready to go out just yet, but it's going to be a battle for that starting spot. I don't think Saros wants to give that up. I don't think Annunen is ready to just stay into the second position right now. Him being like, I'm playing this well right now, there's no reason why I shouldn't be competing for that starting time, be the starter. And these two guys are really good friends too. So, I mean, it's going to be a great friendly competition that we're going to hear. And we're going to see an elite type of style from Justus Annunen over in these next few months. And it was great to see him perform like this in the tournament too. I know the celebrations today, I'm guessing most of y'all have seen the videos and pictures from Finland's celebration on Twitter and X of it's the most personality I've seen from Justus Annunen here. And it's just because he's a little inebriated, rightfully so. I mean, you won a world championship. It's a very, very big deal over in Finland, as I've mentioned before. So, I mean, he's enjoying his time there completely. And I mean, just a testament just how good he's become. And it's just great to see overall. It kind of takes that Askarov trade and the Askarov decision and the Wedgwood decision, and it kind of puts it off to the side, said, you know what? It looks like the Predators made the right decision here. And it looks like the management ended up making the right decision here. But was something that, we might have had to wait on a little bit more and sit on a little bit more. And it didn't look good in the moment, especially at the beginning of the year when Yaroslav Askarov was playing so well with San Jose, and Scott Wedgwood, who is still very good and had a great year in Colorado, but became a similar situation where it was either him or Blackwood. And I think that ended up preventing Wedgwood from winning or getting nominated for the Vezina at some point. I should say finalists for the Vezina at some point. But, it kind of showed out that when you kind of looked at it in the moment, you'd be like, why are we signing this random goalie from Colorado other than the fact that he's big and Finnish, to now where you're like, this is the future starter for this team. This is the future for this team. And it's going to be interesting. I keep saying it over and over again, but it is going to be interesting to see what the competition looks like between Justus Annunen and Juuse Saros. But to wrap this up here, just a great tournament from Big Juice here overall. He just doesn't take away that mentality of fighting too. I mean, I think he understood coming into this that nothing's going to be given, and that I think a lot of Preds fans knew what was coming, but I don't know if the rest of the league did. And he earned this. He worked for this. And there's already rumors going around of teams wanting to go after him. Mind you, he just signed a 2-year extension, so I don't think he has any interest in leaving Nashville just yet. But I saw something from the Ottawa Senators fans or some sort of fans account, some sort of podcast or what's not, that Senators fans were asking to go after Justus Annunen after signing this extension here. And that's crazy to hear about other teams wanting to get players from the Predators at this point. That's not Ryan O'Reilly or Steven Stamkos, and hearing that, hey, their backup teams are looking to grab a little bit more, especially after this World Championship performance. But massive catapult for Justus Annunen here. I know I'm excited to see the performance he had here. It was great to see. He's a good guy, a little bit more shyer and quieter, but I mean, works hard, and it's going to be very excited to see what he brings to the ice next year. But coming up, someone who fell just an inch short of winning that championship, but I mean, gained so much here and just continues to prove a lot of the doubters wrong. That is Roman Josi. And we'll talk about just how much he benefited from this World Championship tournament coming up right after the break. ED is way more common than most guys think. Millions of guys deal with it at some point, and that's exactly why HIMS offers a straightforward way to handle it. HIMS connects you with a licensed healthcare providers online, giving you access to legitimate ED treatment options from the comfort of your home. No awkward appointments, no pharmacy lines, just a straightforward process that makes it easier to take care of yourself. The whole process is simple. You can just complete a quick online intake, and a provider reviews your information. If treatment is right for you, it ships directly to your door in discreet packaging packaging, which means the whole experience feels private and stress-free. They also offer options like Sildenafil, a generic of Viagra at a fraction of the cost, plus other treatments so you can find what works best for you. It's straightforward, transparent, and is designed to make getting care feel easy. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/lockedonnhl. That's hims.com/lockedonnhl for your free online visit. hims.com/lockedonnhl. Prescription required. See website for details and important safety information. Sildenafil is a generic version of Viagra. Viagra is registered with the trademark Viatras Specialty LLC. Hims is not affiliated with or endorsed with Viatras. There's nothing like watching playoff hockey live. The intensity, the rivalries, the crowd, it's just different when you're in the building. Playoffs are some of the best moments in sports, and being there in person is something every fan should experience. Gametime makes it incredibly easy to find tickets, even for those high-demand playoff games in just a few taps. And with the Gametime guarantee, you know what you're getting: 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. I was browsing the Gametime app, checking out some of these playoff matchups, and there are some incredible seats available, even for games you'd think were impossible to get into. The app is super easy to use. You can find tickets fast, and the pricing is all in, so what you see is what you pay, no surprises. One of my favorite features is the seat view. You can actually see what your view will look like before you buy, which makes a huge difference. And the zone deals are awesome. You pick the section, Gametime picks the seats, and you save money. Plus, the lowest price guarantee and ticket coverage, I feel confident every time I buy. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON, spelled out LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So Roman Josi, and leading off with Roman Josi and talking about him, it's just, I don't know why I was so emotional about this situation, and that you kind of relate to some players who you see them and they work towards something for so long and they're pushing for it for so long, and seeing them get close so many times and falling just short, it's heartbreaking completely. It's sad and it's exhausting to the player, because the player knows that they're getting older and that they can only do this for so much longer, and they've gotten so many close so many times and they can't get it done. That's what Roman Josi in Switzerland's been like, and it's been very, I don't know. I was really upset when I saw this. I know there's a very big Finnish following in Nashville, and that makes sense with the history of guys like Pekka Rinne, and now with Erik Haula, Justus Annunen, Juuse Saros, and there's a lot of Team Finland fans here, and I liked Finland too. I mean, Finland's a really fun country. They're really fun guys, and when they won out, it seemed like a lot of people wanted Finland to win in this too. But I have mentioned my friend Drew on this podcast here before, of just, he's a big Nico Hischier fan with the Devils. So he was really locked into Switzerland this year. And part of me was too, just because for Roman Josi's sake, that I've mentioned before, I think he's going to go down as the best Swiss player of all time until someone else creeps up on that, just with the impact he's had. At one point when he was competing for Switzerland, this team was not competing in top tournaments. They were competing in the World Championship Division 1 tournament before they got to the top tournament, and they were battling for qualification at this point. They were battling for regulation when he first came to here. Now, in his older age, probably with 5 or 4 good years left, they're battling to win this whole thing, and he's still in it right now. And for the past 3 years or so, they've been in this gold medal game, and they've fallen by a goal. Well, they haven't fallen by a goal. These past 2 years, they've fallen by a goal, but they've gotten shut out of this gold medal game in their past 3 attempts, and they've been sitting with silver for the past few times. And especially this team this year, they were really good. 2 9-0 wins. They did not lose a game in preliminary play. The only game that they lost was that gold medal game against Finland. And with Roman Josi, I mean, this guy's just a workhorse, and what he puts into this, you want to see the guy rewarded completely, especially, I mean, from my personal perspective, in covering this team for the first time and getting to know him, this is a very good captain. This is a very good individual and good person. You want to see him get rewarded. And he absolutely gave 100% in this tournament, 12 points in 10 games, which tied his career best in this tournament of all time. which isn't too far off, by the way. The last time he put up this total was in the 2024 tournament. He won tournament MVP despite being on the losing squad, and this is his 4th silver medal. He also scored his first ever professional hat trick in this tournament in a 9-0 win over Hungary, scored the first 3 goals of this game. He has just gotten better as he's gotten older, and you talk about just the ebbs and flows you see with hockey, and a lot of its trends and patterns and what's not. And you'd expect a lot of these good players to really hit their strides when they're in their mid 20s, late 20s. And Roman Josi just continues to pour it on and show just how much of a force he is, and that he's not ready to go anywhere. He said, I'm getting older, but my game, I'm going to find ways to get better. I might be dealing with health issues here and there, whether it be with a POTS diagnosis or some injuries at the end of the regular season. He puts in this work and he drives, and he has shown this past year too, despite being an older guy, despite being the captain of this team, despite, rumors might being that, hey, maybe he will be retiring in the next few years here. He is still the Predators' best weapon on the blue line. And rightfully so to that point, even more talking about his regular season total. We talk about how he did miss a certain allotted amount of games. I believe he missed 15, around 15, a little over under 15, and he still flirted with 60 points this year, especially playing with a god-awful defense. Just the fact that this man stepped up, or I should say continues to step up and show, hey, I'm a weapon for the Predators and I'm not going anywhere. I still am playing elite hockey at my age, and again, I don't feel like I'm slowing down, so screw the opinion of what everybody else thinks or anyone else is telling me that I'm retiring. I don't feel like I'm that position, and he continues to contribute night in and night out. I mean, he's just a machine. He's a bull, honestly. And just he did this in the Olympics. The other part to talk about this as well is that he was the only Olympian from the Predators that went to go play to the World Championship. Philip Forsberg didn't go. UC Saros, I was blanking on names there, didn't go. Eric Halla didn't go. Roman Josi was the only guy from the Predators roster who said, hey, might have gotten their Olympic satisfaction. And with Finland, that's a little bit understandable. And just they won bronze already. And just to be like going for gold, which they ended up doing. So, I mean, if some of these guys from the Predators ended up joining the team, but then you go down the rabbit hole of that and be like, well, Justus Annunen might have not gotten his chance if UC Saros took that as well. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about here. But Roman Josi said, we've been close so many years. We can do it this year. And they got so close. And it's just, man, it's just heartbreaking to me to see how close he's gotten. But, the benefit of this, it just shows he's one of the best defensemen in the league still, in my opinion. He is still one of the best European players in the league. He, in my opinion, is still going to be the best Swiss player of all time. This guy is an architect to the Swiss success, which has been heightened and amplified the most at the World Championships. This tournament means so much to them, and that's what really makes me angry about accounts on Twitter basically saying that, like Hockey Empire basically saying, oh, this is a nothing tournament because the United States lost, or this is a nothing burger because Canada lost. And it means so much to these European countries, especially non-powers like a Switzerland or like Norway ended up winning third in the bronze medal. I believe they returned to a soccer stadium full of people to congratulate them because it's the first time that Norway had ever won any sort of medal at the tournament, the bronze medal, defeating Canada in that game. And I mean, for Roman Josi, it means a lot to him, and he's going to show out for them completely. And I think he's going to continue showing out for the Predators. The benefit here that he just showed was that, hey, I'm still competitive in this league. I'm still very good. I just won MVP of this elite tournament here. Any sort of doubt that people might have about me, it should be squashed right now. And he is coming back furious, and you best believe this guy's going to do everything he can to win his Stanley Cup before he retires. I don't know when that's going to be. Right now, it doesn't look like very soon, but he is a machine. Just the Swiss Superman, as I've said many times here before. But coming up in the final segment, we'll talk about the two Ryans of North America. That's why I had it in the little descriptor here, Ryans of NA. That is Ryan O'Reilly with Canada and Brian Ufko with the United States. Two very different roles with their teams, but both gained a lot despite what Ryan O'Reilly might have said. Anyway, that will be coming up right after the break. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, locations, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Get your daily Nashville Predators fix completely ad-free by joining the Everyday Club today. Start your 7-day free trial right now and get closer with your team without the interruptions. Click the link in the show notes or go to lockedonpredators.supercast.com to claim your free trial. All right, so last point here, the two Ryans of this tournament, and that you have one who's a vet here, that is Ryan O'Reilly, and then you have the young guy, which is Ryan Ufko. And let's talk about ROR first, and that he had a good tournament despite what he said is that he had 9 points in 10 games, which is still a critical producer for Team Canada and what he's doing at his age as well. But in typical Ryan O'Reilly fashion, of course, he was talking about just how bad his effort was and how disappointing it was. He said coming to Canada was a waste, not coming to Canada, coming to this tournament was a waste of time considering that Canada didn't win anything after losing the bronze medal game to Norway 3-2 in overtime. And, there's a lot of commotion about this over and over again. They're like, oh my God. And the Nashville fans, all of us are like, this is just a regular Tuesday here, y'all. This is so regular for us. And everyone thought it was like him attacking Canada. Like, no, it's him attacking himself, him talking about how he was bad. And he does this constantly. He made national headlines earlier this year when he was talking about how awful he is and how he's only had one good season. And he's had an awful career. And when things are bad for Ryan O'Reilly, he will be vocal about it. But the big thing that we need to take away from Ryan O'Reilly's time in this tournament is the mentorship aspect of it. And it's something that's very underrated, but I think is very important. And I kind of picked up at it at training camp, and it only continued into the regular season here. And that this is a guy that, and I say it till the cows come home, he's so critically important to what the Predators do and the culture they're instilling and bringing in the new generation of players. I mean that just at the most immense amount. I mean, we're talking about when Brady Martin came in and, his eyes really lit up talking about Brady Martin and just seeing his energy and feeding off his energy and helping him out as much as he can. And just, it was exciting to see a young guy flying all over the ice and just ambitious to be here. And then we talk about at the end of the season when we learn more about what him and Philip Forsberg did with, all these newcomers from Milwaukee, all these young guys, these rookies, and did as much as they could to make these guys feel comfortable, that being, taking them out to lunch, telling them, hey, if you need anything from anybody, we're all one team. We're all willing here to help you. Do not be afraid to ask anybody for help. They will more than willing help you and go above and beyond. And the big thing that we saw after every practice was Ryan O'Reilly and Philip Forsberg were out there as, kind of the two mentors and parents in the situation, and that they were working with these young guys for probably 20 minutes after practice, maybe a half hour, and just running drills with them, running little things over and over again, skill stuff, just them individually, some vets working with the rookies, no coaches. It was just players with players. And that says a lot about, the mentorship of Ryan O'Reilly and just what we've seen a lot from him, and what he's offered is just kind of being the team dad, honestly, for lack of a better phrase, which is such a good thing. And with Team Canada specifically, the big thing that we had heard about over and over again, and that, we saw some guys really complaining about it on, the Canadian TV networks, was the whole that Sidney Crosby did not get the captaincy for Team Canada. It was given to Macklin Celebrini, who I believe is 19, 20 years old. I believe he's 20 years old right now. And he's a young talent. He's going to be very, very good. He's very good right now, but he's going to be even better as his career progresses on for the San Jose Sharks and Team Canada. But the whole thing was like, anytime Crosby should be coming onto a team now, he should be getting the captaincy. But it was Canada valuing the future And I don't know what John Tavares' leadership skills look like. I mean, I guess he's a veteran of the league. He's very established here. So, I mean, I guess he does know how to work with younger guys. But Ryan O'Reilly was given an A on this team, and Celebrini was given a C. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, this is the perfect situation, because we've seen before that Ryan O'Reilly is such a good mentor in working with these young guys. And there were still a ton of young guys on this Canada roster, too, and just helping them feel comfortable and doing what they can to set them up in good situations. And that's exactly what happened here. Macklin Celebrini, I believe, had 15 points in this tournament, 14 points, really ran away with it, was second in scoring in this tournament. And I can't help but think that Ryan O'Reilly was a big part of this in setting up plays and creating successful situations for him, all while just being a guy in the locker room that knows the right things to say to motivate these young guys here and make them feel comfortable. What he benefits from this and what Nashville benefits from this is just, we're just seeing the same of a guy like Ryan O'Reilly, who at a lot of teams could be a third line center, is the first line center on this team, and just contributes a lot and just knows how to set up plays. And he is just he's the usher of just this new era of Preds hockey. And he's showing that with Team Canada too, and just spreading that message of, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm going to contribute as much as I can. I'm going to go 100%, but I'm going to help you guys get comfortable with this, know the ways. And by the time it's my time to retire, you guys will be ready to take the reins. And he does such a good job of this leadership and mentoring. I have no doubt that he did this with Team Canada, and he continues to do it with the Preds, and we saw more of that here. A final guy that we're going to talk about here, Ryan Ufko, who similar to Justus Annunen, but maybe not at the, I can't think of like the intensity that Justus Annunen was at the moment. Ryan Ufko came into the season and just his stocks exploded, and talking about being one of the best defensemen in the AHL, one of the top scoring defensemen in that league too. I mean, just progressing enormously to the point where the Predators had no choice but needed to bring him up at the trade deadline. That after they had traded Nick Blankenburg, Ryan Ufko kind of fits that 1-for-1 kind of mold that Nick Blankenburg left, and came in, had a good stint in his first few NHL games. No, he's played in the NHL before. First few games with Nashville. And, just continue to roll and is continuing to establish himself as a regular in this lineup and carry the momentum playing for the United States in his first professional tournament. Got 2 points, 2 assists, and a goal in this tournament. And we saw from the goal that he scored against Austria. And again, the U.S. had an awful outing in this tournament. So this is one of the good things you can take away from this. But the confidence and skill set behind the puck, and I think this is only going to grow for Ryan Ufko. The goal that he scored was a fake shot, was able to break the legs of the defender, get it open lane, shoot it, and score. I mean, just more showing off the skating skills, the stick handling skills, just how confident he is behind the puck. And we've seen that too in the first goal, his first NHL goal that he scored with the Predators this year, and just deking through the defense and going to the net and scoring. This is a guy that is a pusher. He's going to be very exciting to watch. It's just about the growth and getting comfortable in the game a little bit more. This is an important part of it, and understanding the international game, finding his sense out there, establishing his game out there, and just moving with some comfort. He also just took advantage of the time he got. He played a majority of these games as the seventh defenseman, which, as we know from the Preds, that guy really does not get a lot of work. So he took advantage of the moment. And this is another guy who I'm really glad got the opportunity to go and play. U.S. was a little bit more on the younger side, so they took a little bit more of a different perspective coming into this tournament here. But Ryan Ufko, I mean, was fantastic in this tournament, in my opinion, for what he established here. I don't think he needed to do anything flashy. I didn't think he needed to lead in scoring or anything like that. I think he just needed to hold his own on the ice and needed that and even more, getting some points. And he's going to go, another guy going into the offseason with a lot of momentum going into training camp. But that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys for watching and listening. At Jack G. Williams on Twitter/X, the Hockey News Nashville Predators, where you can find all my stuff, LO_Predators on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We are just Locked on Predators at Everyday Club. Members only Discord access, ad-free audio. It's all built for our most loyal fans. And yeah, grateful for y'all. Thankful for y'all. Appreciative for y'all. Love that we had this good World Junior tournament to enjoy. Now it's time for draft and free agency season. So this was kind of the bow on top of the World Championships here. But that's going to do it for me today. I will see you tomorrow on another episode of the Locked on Predators podcast.